absolument dantesque ce match. Absolument dantesque. Premier écran, non, c'est que le début. Qu'est-ce qu'ils foutent ceux-là? Ah, ils pique-niquent. Ils sont en train de pique-niquer sous l'avion. Ah, bon. Non, c'est un chien. Oh, passage du mur du son. Ouais, celui-là, les Russes en avaient peur. Hein. Parachute de décélération. Je sais pas si tu imagines, mais on est dessous l'avion. Donc c'est une véritable terrasse. Là, ici, on est évidemment vers cette pointe fameuse. Ah oui, d'accord. Bon. Moteur prise en haut. Et ce machin, mais on se demande comment il peut. Ça, c'est une des choses que j'arrive pas à saisir. Hein. Là, alors, ça, dans le bord.
Au fond, alors.
Au fond, ouais.
To welcome you aboard the tram ride at the Pima Air and Space Museum. This is not the tram ride to Walt Disney's Magic Mountain, so if you had your heart set on that, this is... Our first aircraft I want to talk about here is Mr. John Mccain was flying when he was shot down over North Vietnam, and he spent 5.5 years as this B-23 Dragon. It's a World War II designed bomber that was spawned onto the Douglas B. Unofficial name is Créé. Over here on the left is a twin-engine silver aircraft. It's a Lockheed L-10 Electra. It's the first all-metal aircraft, the C-69. The airframe has 42,000 hours on it, and TWA employees and retirees spent 7,000 hours helping us restore the aircraft. Up to the aircraft right there houses an air refueling receptacle. Now Lockheed Jetstar. In military terms, it's the VC of Victor Charlie 140. These next three aircraft on the right are all examples of late model fighters used by the Navy and the Air Force. This first fighter here on the right is a Grumman F-14A Tomcat. That's based on the USS Kitty Hawk carrier. It's famed after the war during the Berlin Airlift. You may recall the Berlin Airlift took place from late June of 48 to late September of 49 after the Soviets blockaded the three land routes into Berlin. Coming up with Swiss Air Force markings on the tail is a Hawker Hunter, a very capable single-engine, single-seat fighter used by the British Air Force and the Swiss Air Force. The Swiss used theirs for about 35 years. The same Hawker aircraft company that built the famous Hawker Hurricane was purchased to sell to friendly foreign military services. You can hang one of the nose, the Navy version of the F-86 called a Fury. Last B-52 on display here is a B-52G model. The Air Force is still flying B-52s today. They're flying the H model today. This particular B-52 saw action in the first Gulf War. Took off here, based on that Navy A3 Sky Warrior design. And unfortunately for him, he went down in the demilitarized zone right next to some crossroads where the enemy was bringing across 30,000 troops, tanks, trucks, surface-to-air missiles, anti-aircraft guns, all kinds of bad stuff. Aerodynamics, F-111 hard bark. Hard bark means anteaters, which means a long snout on this airplane. This is a low-altitude fighter bomber. And that's not because this is not a good fighter. This is a very lightweight, very agile air-to-air fighter. But our F-86 air crews had so much better training than the Soviet and North Korean air crews. They could achieve a 10-to-1 kill ratio. The trainer for the MiG-15 and MiG-17 is this MiG-15 midget you see right here on the left. There's another C-130 taken off from Davis-Monthan Air Base. Interceptor, that yellow radar houses a 67-mile air intercept radar. The next is the MiG-17 Fresco C, a day fighter used extensively in the Vietnam War. The follow on the MiG-17 is the MiG-21 Fishbend, the Soviet's first delta-wing supersonic high-altitude interceptor. This is the most abundantly produced fighter ever made between the Soviets and their allies. They've produced over 13,000 of those MiG-21s. Selling with just about anybody with a pilot's license. The fall on the MiG-21 is the MiG-29 Fulcrum, the next MiG you see right here. And this is also a swing wing, a variable geometry wing fighter. You may see one of these taken off from Davis Monthan. Next one on the left, the North American RA version of that Wild Weasel we saw earlier. This is the largest single-engine fighter, an F-11F Tiger, the Navy's first supersonic designed fighter. An interesting story with the Tiger. A pilot was flying. If you ever saw that movie of Strategic Air Command with Jimmy Stewart, he was flying an aircraft like this, and also the B-47 we saw earlier. Well, we're going to take a look at some of these. The profile they used on the nose right there. The pilot would take off. This first helicopter over here is a Bell Kiowa. It's a light observation helicopter used by the Army. The civilian version of that is the most popular civilian helicopter ever built, called the Bell Jet C. Next helicopter is Sikorsky H3f Pelican. When the Coast Guard flies it, it was the first helicopter that the Civil Aeronautics Board certified for civilian use. The next two helicopters, Sikorsky Dragonflies. Those were used to retrieve the downed flyers in the Korean War. You saw that movie Bridges to Tokyo-ri. Mickey Rooney was flying one of those when he attempted to rescue William Holden. And my wife says, I got to get a life with watching those old war movies. Well, folks, that's all I know about these airplanes out here. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Still lots of nice day left out here at the museum and lots more airplanes to look at. Our first stop here will be at the 390th Memorial. The B-17 is inside there, but more importantly, the docents in there. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I always enjoy a sitting ovation.
On my last mission, I will not land again. Must call me a lady and water a big friend. I see Colonel John Moore.
Quand tu rentres dans ces halls, tu es toujours sur le cul de ce que tu peux voir. Ça, c'est le Memorial Hall. L'attaque du 8 mars 1944, reconstituée en 3D.